Okay, the Grand Tour, this is always a tricky one, this, but the Grand Tour is a sort of car-themed reality sitcom soap panto show with 3 old blokes in it, talking about cars and driving in interesting and exotic locations around the world in a variety of vehicles ranging from the truly decrepit to the quite preposterously exotic. It is basically a very drawn-out road trip with some interruptions. You know, people have asked me to describe it, and I find that difficult. And then they say, what is the secret of his success? What makes you 3 work together? And I'm afraid I don't know the answer to any of it. It's a complete mystery to us, but it seems to work. So we just keep going. Well, I worked with them on our previous show at the BBC, but prior to that, I didn't know Jeremy. I did know Hammond because back in the very dark days of black and white, we both worked in sort of print motoring journalism. In fact, Richard Hammond worked in motor industry PR for a bit.
Wow.
So occasionally I'd go on the launch of a new car and Richard Hammond would be there giving me the information about it and showing me some pictures on a big screen. It was hilarious. He used to wear a suit and have very neat short hair and all sorts of stuff and a pen in his pocket. He was hopeless. Well, I mean, to be honest, in terms of the way we work, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. Amazon don't interfere. They don't try and tell us what to do or anything like that. You know, they're big enough to leave us to it. But it is quite interesting to make a show that you know it's available everywhere all the time. And that's quite scary in a way, especially if you do something really stupid, because it's not like it's on one week and then it's forgotten. It's there forever for people to watch you being an idiot. But that is, I mean, that's the way it has to be, really. People below the age of 30 don't understand the idea that television is scheduled. It's all available all of the time.
Right.
Like, you know, it's like sweets in a shop, and you can have whatever you want whenever you want. And why not? I mean, it's a great idea. That's what we've always wanted.
Yeah.
It's never been possible before. Yes, the tent it's our studio, but it is actually a tent. It's like a MASH tent, if you remember those from the film, but it's got some, well, the MASH tents had lights in, ours has got cameras and a wooden floor, and then it's got some boxes where people can sit. And amazingly, hundreds of people turn up to watch this. I mean, hundreds of thousands apply to watch it, and you know, 400 or 500 will actually turn up and sit in a tent and watch 3 pretty shabby old blokes just talk, I'm going to use a British word, bollocks. Oh. That's an excellent expression, actually, slapstick insubordination. I'm going to borrow that if you don't mind. There's sort of mucking about, we'd call it. Yeah, mucking about, bit of slapstick. I don't think we're quite as intellectual as the Monty Python crew were, but we are as silly. In this series, we have several episodes shot in the States. We've been to Colombia, right across, down the length of Colombia. We've been right across Mongolia. We've been to some quite interesting bits of China that people from sort of Europe and America don't generally go to. I've been to Spain, I've been to France, we've been to bits of England. That's not particularly exotic. Yeah, we've been all over the place. Oh yeah, we get all over the place. The most absurd place we've been to, I think, well, I say absurd, the most amazing is the middle of Mongolia in this series, because there's nothing there, just this sort of lovely, rather fragrant scenery, which I suspect we spoiled by being in it, to be honest. But it's a fantastic experience. I've never been anywhere quite like that.
Well,
and I'd recommend it, but it's a long way away, and it takes a while to get into the middle of it because there aren't really any roads. Jeremy only had a medium-sized car. He had a Jeep Wrangler. I had a very small European Fiat. I mean, it's still pretty hairy because it's very high and there's no railings or anything, and it looks pretty decrepit. But yeah, we got across okay. But Hammond had to creep across because his truck is as big, or at times slightly bigger, than the bridge. But it's a fantastic piece of TV because, as you say, when you watch it, I don't like watching it. Oh. It's not because I love Hammond or anything. It's just because I don't like heights. And yeah, it makes me feel it makes my teeth hurt when I watch that.
No kidding. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
It is a correct description, but given the competition, it's not actually much of a compliment. It wasn't quite my first donut, but it was my first muscle car donut, definitely. The only other ones I've done have been in very small sports cars. But I'd like to point out that I won that particular competition in the Detroit show, so just in case anybody's ready to mock, going, ha, you've just done your first donut. Yeah, well, the first one's always the best, isn't it? Working with the other two, without question.
Yeah.
Nothing else I've had to do. No terrain, no racetrack, no 1,000 horsepower muscle car is quite as challenging as having to tolerate those two Muppets.
You know, that's why it works. That's why the show works.
Sorry, that's an honest answer.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I also hear you guys don't like to hang out after the show's done shooting. You just do your own thing and they do their own thing.
Oh, God, yeah, we're sick to death of each other by the time we get to that point. I can't imagine, you know, weeks and weeks of arguing and bickering across Mongolia or across the Nevada desert and then saying, anybody fancy a pint? There's just a little puff of dust where I had been standing because I've gone, you know.
Okay.
What is it? It's a new idea. It's the game of the show. We always say you watch the show, now play the show. Each episode comes with an episode of the game, and the game is based around the challenges and adventures we have on the show. So it might be a drag race or a race around a circuit or on an off-road course or something, and it starts off as the film of us doing it, but then it turns into a very high-quality video game, great graphics, and you become the driver. So you choose to become me or Jeremy Clarkson or Richard Hammond, and then, you know, you can race 4 of you together. You can play little tricks on each other. There are sort of gadgets and stunts in it, and it's all, I mean, it's knockabout family fun. It's not a hardcore nerds racing game. It's a driving game. It's, you know, it's a laugh.
Yeah.
It's very good. I would say that, but it is very good. Well, we haven't really planned season 4 because we've only just finished. In fact, we haven't quite finished making season 3. There's still a few bits of voiceover and a bit of editing to do. But season 4 is going to be big specials only. So we're concentrating on the big adventure road trips, like the Colombia one, which is the episode 2 of season 3. So that's coming out on Friday. And the Mongolia one, which is out in a few weeks. It's that sort of thing. Big feature-length adventures of us going to some, you know, exploiting some quite convoluted ideas in very attractive places that we'd quite like to go to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a bit of what she accuses me of showing off, actually.
Well.
I think, and I don't mean flamboyant showing off donuts and skids and things, but she says I do sporty gear changes. She always says, stop doing sporty gear changes, just drive normally. That's one of her criticisms.
What is a sporty gear change?
Well, I'm not really sure, to be honest, but I think she's just mocking me. But it's if you, like in my Porsche, which is an old school manual, a stick as you'd call it, you know, I will get ready for the gear and maybe blip the engine a bit and try and make a very slick, smooth change so that you hardly notice it's happened. And I feel very pleased with myself because I've done that, whereas she'll sort of go like that, you know, as if I've taken pleasure in the least important thing in the world. She may have a point. You can watch it on your TV if you have a smart TV. If you haven't got a smart TV, you can add a Fire Stick and turn it into a smart TV. You can watch it on your tablet, you can watch it on your laptop or your desktop computer. You can watch it on your telephone if you've got good eyesight, and you could even watch it on some games consoles if they're connected to a suitable screen. Streaming music is also available on Amazon, and with Prime next day delivery of Pass. Thank you, Helen, it's been great.